Audio Jungle.
Footballer dies during training at Christiana High. A footballer from St. Catherine died after falling ill during training at Christiana High School in northeast Manchester on Tuesday. He has been identified as Adrian Jeffrey, 18, a student of Christiana High. Jeffrey reportedly was boarding at the school as he is from Glengough in St. Catherine. Preliminary reports are that about 4 p.m., Jeffrey was in training at the school and during a break, he told his football coach that he wasn't feeling well. Efforts were reportedly made to locate his asthma pump and a nurse was alerted. However, when Jeffrey was rushed to the nearby Percy Junior Hospital in neighboring Spalding, he was pronounced dead on arrival minutes later. Reports indicate that his coach is also from St. Catherine and was also being accommodated by Christiana High. The Ministry of Education Region 5 has confirmed that arrangements are being made for grief counseling for Jeffrey's teammate and schoolmates. British man murdered in Belgrave Heights, St. Andrew. The St. Andrew North Police are searching for assailants who shot and killed a British man at his home in Belgate Heights early Tuesday morning. The deceased has been identified as 42-year-old Nicholas Collins, who lived in the community. Reports are that about 12:03 explosions were heard at the premises and the police were summoned. Collins was found inside the house with gunshot wounds to his upper body. He was assisted to the Kingston Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The Constant Spring Criminal Investigations Branch is probing the matter. Security guard charged for allegedly failing to return rental vehicle. The police in Portmore, St. Catherine, have charged a man for allegedly failing to return a rental vehicle and using a fake driver's license to attempt to rent another vehicle. Charged with larceny of a motor vehicle, malicious destruction of property, and authoring forged document is 31-year-old security guard Tashawn Farquharson of a St. Andrew address. Reports on the police are that in January 2025, Farquharson rented a 2016 Toyota Corolla for 3 days. However, the vehicle was not returned on the agreed date, prompting the complainant to track it. The tracking led her to Patrick City in St. Andrew, but upon arrival, she only found the tracker. The complainant subsequently reported the matter to the police. Farquharson later attempted to rent a second vehicle from the complainant, presenting a driver's license with the same picture but a different name from the first rental. During the transaction, the police were contacted and Farquharson was arrested and taken into custody. He was formally charged at the end of the question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. His court date is being finalized. Opposition files lawsuit against law to make Portmore a parish. Another legal fight is looming between the government and the parliamentary opposition, this time over the legislation passed in February to make Portmore the country's 15th parish. The government used its majority in the legislature to pass the legislation despite concerns by the Electoral Commission of Jamaica and it could be in breach of the Constitution. Opposition leader Mark Golding disclosed that his People's National Party (PNP) filed a lawsuit in the Constitutional Court on Monday seeking to have the law struck down. We regard the pursuit of this legislation as a dangerous affront of our democracy, which must be vigorously resisted by all lawful means of our disposal, Golding said during his contribution to the budget debate in Parliament. The ECJ warned in a letter to Parliament and the Ministry of Local Government that the proposed Portmore parish boundary may negatively affect a provision of the Constitution. The boundary of a constituency should not cross the boundary of a parish as delimited by the Counties and Parishes Act or by any law amending or replacing the law, the ECJ said, quoting the constitutional provision. The National Identification and Registration Act was initially declared unconstitutional by the Constitutional Court in 2017, ending a lawsuit filed by the opposition Member of Parliament Julian Robinson. The PNP unsuccessfully challenged a constitutional amendment enactment by the government that raised the age of retirement for the Director of Public Prosecution and the Auditor General. Independent Fiscal Commission says 2025-2026 national debate is credible, but there are shortcomings. The Independent Fiscal Commission says the 2025-2026 national budget presented by Finance Minister Favor Williams is credible, but there are shortcomings. Fiscal Commissioner Courtney Williams made this statement during the press conference of the Commission. He said based on macroeconomic and fiscal projection, they are reasonable and achievable. The current budget being debated is credible. Mr. Williams said the Jamaica current fiscal policy and position are sustainable. He noted, however, that improvements relating to public sector compensation negotiations, the public sector transformation program, among other things, are needed.
These points are important because the Independent Fiscal Commission has a duty to the public. And the very first thing the public should want to hear from any independent review of the national budget is whether it is credible. And any review of the overall fiscal position and policy should state that it is sustainable. These matters are also important because they should not be taken for granted. It is good that for over a decade we have grown accustomed to greater macroeconomic stability. But this was not always the case that in Jamaica that the national budget was credible or that we were on a sustainable path. In fact, for most of our history, this has not been the case. And that is why Jamaica is now engaged in a comprehensive process of economic reform and related institutional strengthening. The Commission proposed that government present a comprehensive fiscal profile for the specified public sector. Second proposal was for tabling revenue measures concurrently with all other budgetary documents and presenting said measures in the fiscal policy table. The third significant point to put forward for consideration is for establishing clear compensation negotiation cycles geared towards settling wage negotiations before the budget is presented. Again, it's trying to minimize the fiscal risk of you not having adequate provision in the budget for wage settlement. So seek to settle the wage negotiations before the budget, so that rather than having to include a contingency figure depending on how the wage negotiations go, there would be certainty as to what the wage figure would be for the budget. So try to settle that before the budget is presented.
Change champion. Mark Golding on Tuesday started opening the opposition's manifesto to the countries during the 2025-2026 budget debate presentation, in which he declared the People's National Party united with fresh ideas and solid plans, ready to assume the mantle of the government to deliver growth, opportunity, and progress for all. Golding, who will contest the next general election as PNP president for the first time, made a suite of promises in 3-hour-long presentation which featured affordable housing, improvement in education, security, renewable energy, social transformation, constitutional reform, and the creation of an ethical society for national building. Declaring that the PNP will champion positive change if it is selected to office, Golding said the party will be given more details of its policies and programs in the next few weeks. Examine our policies and decide for yourself. Do not get distracted. Do not be intimidated by anyone who seems to want to rob us of our democratical way of life. Jamaica doesn't belong to either the PNP nor the JLP. It belongs to other people of Jamaica who, every 4 to 5 years, determine who they want to lead them. The people of Jamaica are the title holders of this nation, he noted. Maria Dean did not cooperate with the police on his address, witness tells court. Corporal Harvey Williams, the police officer testifying at the trial of 3 cops in the 2014 beating death of Maria Dean, admitted that he left Dean in custody while hoping that the 31-year-old construction worker would become more cooperative with the police. Williams made the admission while responding to questions from defense attorney Dalton Reed in the Westmoreland Circuit Court yesterday during the 7th day of the trial of Corporal Ellie Stewart and constables Juliana Cleveland and Marlon Grant. Continuing his cross-examination testimony from Thursday, March 13, Williams told the court that he wrote the word bail next to Dean's name while processing him when Dean was brought into custody at the Barnett Street Police Station in Montego Bay, St. James, for possession of Conjures Cliff on August 3, 2014. However, he said he drew a line through the word when Dean refused to cooperate with the police regarding his address. By placing him on the bench, was there any hope of you as part that Mr. Dean would have cooperated with the police and then been let out on bail? Asked Attorney Thomas. Yes, sir, Williams replied. Williams had previously testified that Dean could have been bailed on his own surety based on the nature of the ganja possession charge, but that he required a surety to bail him because he could not provide the police with proper directions to his address. Stewart, Cleveland, and Grant are charged with manslaughter, misconduct in a public office, and taking steps to pervert the court of justice, under allegations that they were on duty at the Barnett Street police station lockup on August 3, 2014, when Dean was beaten while in custody. Dean died in hospital 3 days later. It is also alleged that Stewart, the senior officer on duty, ordered the cleaning of the cell where the beating took place before investigators from Indicom arrived. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.